Good day, everyone, and welcome to our newest episode of the Lucian Godfrey Show. So, with me in studio, I do have indoors with the Lindoors. Yes, family, how are you guys doing?
Absolutely wonderful. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it
Amazing.
is an honor, firstly, and a blessing for us to be here. For those of you who don't know us, hy is mos nou Patrick Tururu en ek is Shuling.
Sure.
Net die mooi vroukie wat sy arms omhoog hou. So yeah, it's really an honor for us to be here, Lucian.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting us. Ons glo mos aan ons eie and building the brand and making it better.
Yes.
Want ons moet dit mos nalaat vir ons nageslag, né?
Yes, yes.
Guys, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do take a second and subscribe. Otherwise, you won't get notifications and you won't ever see our videos again. So please do take a second and subscribe. Let's get into it. I'm looking forward to the discussion that we'll be having. But before we get into all of those nice things, let's start with the great things. Where did you, Mr. Pet, where did you grow up and what was it like growing up?
I grew up in Uitenhage, Gerald Smith. Man, it was fun growing up in Gerald Smith. We had hard times, we had difficult times, but that it's but a drop of what I've experienced and how I grew up. And that is where my music career was actually carved. That's where it was actually, it all started. We used to listen to the so-called gangsters and the scholars of those days.
Yes, yes, yes.
And they used to sing, they used to harmonize, used to smoke their stuff outside, but they used to sing like angels and play guitar. And that was the thing hey, one day I want to play like that guy, one day I want to sing like him, those type of things. So I grew up in Gerald Smith, yes, in Uitenhage.
Awesome, awesome. And you, Shirley?
Well, when I say this one, Sal Patrick say, JSC van die Kaapie. I was born and bred in Cape Town, Kensington, Factoryton. At the age of 9, I think, we moved to Uitenhage. My mother got remarried. She actually worked this side. So we moved to Uitenhage and I started my schooling career at Daros Primary, went to Uitenhage High after that. And then years after that, I met this guy next to me. And he still gives me butterflies. Very important. Yeah. Musically, I always loved to sing. I sang in church and I used to do talent shows. And then the story behind the story with Patrick was one day when I sat at Jubilee, what is it? Jubilee, that area there?
Jubilee Park.
Jubilee Park, yeah. So there's a Mirki, and I really love sitting there. And Patrick came past, and I sat and sang there. And I said, "My meisie, jy moet kom sing by die talent show." And I was like, "Really?"
I used to do all the school talent shows
Okay.
back in the day. And I was like, this Chinese girl can sing. And she didn't enter the competition though. And I went to her and said, look here, you must come sing. You must come sing, meisie.
Yeah.
And those days it was like, okay, I will say what type of thing.
Sure, yes.
So yeah, and that time already I could hear that she's got she's got a beautiful voice and
Why?
absolute talent. Yeah.
So you also talented to be able to identify this gem. I mean, at the end of the day, we have so many people listening in today, and we have talents, but we don't see the worth in it.
Yeah, it's not
And-
recognized.
Yes, and first we need to recognize it for ourselves. So others can actually also appreciate it. If I don't believe that what I have is of any worth, then how are others going to believe it? And so with us having people throughout the world, everyone, I believe that according to Matthew 25, that each and every person has talents, talented differently. You guys were able to use that talent and then also be able to live out your passion. How was the journey for you, and how is it going? And hopefully, you guys can also share with us how can someone else actually.
You see, with me, it started many, many moons ago. I used to work at Goodyear back in the day, and I went on an apprenticeship for electricians at ETC. That time it was known as Anton Jenny.
Okay.
But half of the day, I would like go home, grab my guitar instead of completing this course
Yes, yes.
because everybody knew I wanted to fiddle with cables, and I was, they already called me a little electrician, like in the factory and things. And I said, no, man, this is not for me. And Goodyear went on strike, and but I earned money more than when I earned at Goodyear.
Sure.
Because we used to play back in the day at Alabama with the Royal Sounds then. And then Joe and Mr. Ali, the owner of the Alabama, said, look here, we'd like you to come with a guitar and come and play in the pub, man, for the people on a Thursday night and so forth. And I thought, hey, there's extra money to be made there. At that time, 50 Rand was a lot of money.
Yo, I can imagine.
Entrepreneur.
So I made a 50 Rand, but with a band, I got, maybe less than that. But then I started playing there on a Thursday. But Raymond Mart was a teacher that time at Jubilee Park. So he bought my first guitar at Musicland and a drum box.
Sure.
And on our way home, he couldn't understand. I would program all the drums with the fills and everything of the songs that I loved. And he's like, how did you know that? I said, I don't know, but I just know this
Yes,
thing.
yes,
and I
yes,
like
yes.
it.
Just came.
Excited.
And with all the stuff that I bought, like the R5, when I saw Mango Groove with the R8, the only one that was available was an R5. It's a drum box with little bass sounds. I used to program that thing. I used to get keyboard sounds out of it and so forth. So I had this passion for this thing, and I turned that into a business for me.
Sure.
People used to say, but what are we going to eat? How are we going to live? Goodyear striked for 9 weeks, but I earned money during that time. Every week, more than I made at Goodyear. More than what I was earning at Goodyear at the time. So much so that I bought my first house out of that. I did an investment with F&B. So my late friend Ivor Size came to me and said, we've got some houses there, show houses. And I said, I would love one, And he said, but you don't qualify, with Goodyear Cellar and so forth.
Sure.
And I said, I've got a little investment.
Sure.
So they went in and said, you qualify, and that's how I bought
Wow.
my first house, So music, and you know what? People used to say, you must go and learn, man. Go and study.
You go and study, yes,
Go
yes.
and get a job, do something. And I was like, but I'm passionate about this. And to me, this was also like, look, if the Americans can do it, why can't we?
Sure.
And I was always very, very passionate about it. And that's actually what kept me going, And from there, I grew. I used to do like 9 shows a week.
Wow.
2 matinees and 7 every night, I'm telling you. But as we go further,
Yes,
I'll tell
yes,
you
yes.
more about that.
So for me, on the musical side and giving a little bit of education or just some inspiration to people out there, I think for me, it really started in COVID.
Okay.
When, like, I always knew this was my passion. I loved singing. I loved being on stages, having people clap and making them feel good, and
Sure.
just living out
Yes.
your dream on stage. But when COVID hit, I think that was a eye opener for me, Patrick. I don't know if you remember. No, you will remember. So we used to start not every single night. We did it once when the president announced. So the country is going in lockdown.
Yes.
And no one can go anywhere. And I was telling him, what are we gonna do? Because we have gotten so used to going out on weekends, singing for people, and it's just we're taking something away from them.
Yes.
How are we going to give it back to
Back
them?
to them.
And he came up with an idea the evening of the announcement of all borders are closed, all no one
Yes.
can travel, all buses are halted.
That 21 days,
That
the
21
first one.
days, yeah.
Yeah.
He said to me, let's do a live. We started with a phone.
Okay.
And what did you have an iPhone that time yet?
No,
not
no,
yet.
I didn't have an
Still a
iPhone.
Huawei or something.
Yes.
We did the one broadcast and we went live. We had Les and Buddy and myself and Patrick, and we had a band in there.
Yes.
And we did this live show. And after watching the show when we finished,
Yes.
I told him, baby, he was 500 mense op. Like
Wow.
499 people. And people are saying, this is what we're going to miss. We can't understand how we're going to go out. And ek sê vir hom, this is a brilliant thing that we did. And it
Yeah,
started there. I think you can
Sure.
explain it
Yes.
better than I do.
It started there. No, you're absolutely right. It started there. But you know what I called the artists in, and I said to them, guys, you know what? We won't be able to see the people, but we can allow them to see us
Yes.
and
Yes.
still enjoy our music. And then I said to them, and we can maybe make a little bit of money. So what I'm going to do
Yes.
is we're going to go live, and then we're going to request some, donations and things for the
Sure.
artists that are struggling. We were very fortunate at the time. But then Jerome Smith came on board, Edo Productions, and he said,
Okay.
bro, it's lockdown for us as well. And we've got all the great equipment.
Yeah.
I've got a switcher worth 80,000. I've got cameras and things. And I've got a guy, a friend, who's got a network company, and they can give us free data and stuff. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you for real?
Yeah.
And then it came in and everything just blew up. We had less than 1,000 followers. And
Yes.
then in 2 weeks' time, I'm like, Shuling, we've got almost 10,000 followers. And everybody was like tuning in from all over the world. And then donations came in, and we could feed our fellow artists, our fellow people. And then we went out to the townships, and I got a permit to go out and hand out food and things. And God used us in a
Tremendous.
in a great way. And you know what? Doors opened up for us, Lucia. And the thing is, if you ever doubted God, that was the time He came through for us in a big way. We would like go live, and we would like sweat. And people said, but Shuling, why do you always wipe them up with where's the aircon, where's the thing? And they thought that we had it all. And there are people
Yes.
from Saudi saying, look here, we're buying you aircon, somebody's dropping it off.
Because you
But
can't,
Wow.
you can't sweat while you're singing. You
Yes,
need to
yes,
stay
yes,
calm.
yes.
And
Wow.
people came from all
Wow.
over. And you know what? A lot of things happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And it was just evident that God ordained us, or he actually crafted our skill and for
He prepared us
He
for
prepared
time.
us for times such as this. And I said to Shuling, you know what? That is where I actually started to, not that I didn't appreciate her, but even more. I love
Yes.
you, but this is my everything. And but just let me just go rewind a little bit.
Sure.
You know what, Shuling? It didn't start there with her. I struggled at first. We went to Jonathan Butler's show at the Opera House,
Okay.
and myself and Kenny that sings for the Christadelphians, we were in the crowd, in the audience, and Jonathan Butler did Lies, and we were harmonizing from we in the audience.
From the audience.
Sure.
Harmonizing, we're doing the harmony. She's like, "Who's that?"
Ah.
And he said, come here. And I said to Kenny, you go, because I know Kenny, you don't have to invite him twice.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
went
yeah.
on stage, and Jonathan was like, wow. Ek sê, julle is ewe kort. So then I went backstage with him, and we had a chat, and I said to him, no, man, I want you to record us, please. And he says, no,
Sure.
I can't, but I've got a brother-in-law who's very good, Vincent Fraser. I said, don't tell me about Vincent Fraser, but I don't know Vincent Fraser. I want you to record
Sure.
it, And then on our way out, we met Vincent. And wow, he was God sent. It was the best thing that could have happened to Tururu. Let me tell you that, because Vincent Fraser wasn't just a producer. He was a people's person. He was so passionate, and he made me believe in what I doubted at first.
Yes.
And then
I like that.
I wrote a song, and I said to Shuling, at that time we were not even dating.
That
I
was a
said,
taxi queen.
yeah. I said, now with Taxi Queen,
There's a song, taxi queen.
Wow.
with Taxi Queen, I said to her, because you know what? They when they used to go to school, they used to jump through the window and the garages and everything, and I followed a girl, man.
Okay.
And she got into the taxi, and I was like, and she had a thing with the taxi driver.
Sure,
And
sure,
so
sure.
Everybody
Okay.
had to wait until she gets in.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it wasn't long after that. Her place was taken by somebody else.
Sure, sure.
And she had to get into the back and so forth.
And now the lyric says,
Yeah.
van
Yes.
a taxi queen,
Na
na
gaatjie
die
queen.
gaatjies.
So
Wow.
she was,
So we need to listen to
so I
that.
said to her, Shuling, I want you to come and do the harmonies on that thing. Just do some backing vocals, We got to the studio, and she couldn't sing. She didn't want to sing. She was too shy. She got
Yeah.
we were struggling. I was struggling with her. I really was, Until we got involved, and I said to her, you know what?
Kyk in die speel.
Yeah.
He
kyk
used
in
to
die
tell
spieël.
me that.
Yeah. Kyk in die spieël.
Yeah.
See your worth. See what you've
See
got.
your worth,
And I used to,
100%.
you know what? And ever since she started singing, it wasn't about Tururu anymore. And I'm not even
Yes.
shy to say it, you know what? The spotlight moved from me
Mm,
on her, although we are a team.
Ons is
Sure.
mos een.
We are one. She will always say that.
Simonje.
But I know. It's like I've been saying to most of the artists, you know what? I made money and I made a living. I'm still making a living out of this.
sure.
Not because of my passion, because I learned the hard way
Sure.
how to sustain my family, how to maintain everything, and how to progress in life with the gift that God has given, you know. Instead of waiting or listening to other people to saying, well, but it's not
To
a real job.
validate you.
It is not a real job. Everything can be a job.
Yes.
Everything you see is an opportunity.
I like what you're saying in terms of that one doesn't need to wait in order to be validated, you know? And it makes me think of Tony Robbins. I read a lot, I buy courses, etc. And he learned NLP and he learned how to help people to quit smoking. But halfway through the course, he wanted to go and help people, but they stopped him. They said, "You're not going to proceed. You're not going to be certified unless you actually first complete this." But he said, "But we know how. Let's go help people." And he went to the bar and he helped people quit smoking, quit drinking, etc. And he speaks about it in his book, and he speaks about the fact that we often wait too long to get validation from
Yes.
others.
Yes.
And that is actually what this podcast is about. It is so others can listen and think for themselves, you know what? This is not just a program to watch and go and sleep. This is basically find it inspirational so they can realize their worth and
Yes.
go out and make a business from it. Like you said, I'm sure that you are carrying many hats as an entrepreneur, as a husband, etc. You know, how does one actually take your talent and then make it sustainable for the one listening in today?
Man, what I can tell you is that I always say, and I think it's something bad about me, that I always acknowledge that I always tell people or artists, you know,
Sure.
I always say to them, I'm not a vocalist. I'm not a guitarist. I can play guitar and I can sing.
Sure.
This is a vocalist.
Okay.
You know, you would go to Mano Smith, he's a guitarist. They're specialists.
Sure.
I'm an entertainer. So what
Okay.
I've done, at the minute I hit the roof, I used to do all the songs that used to come on the top 10 or the top 20 of 5FM, Algoa FM. I used to listen to the radio. I used to work on all the hit songs. And that made me popular because it's not
Yes.
how I sang it or how I did it, it's the fact that I did it.
Sure.
Popularity.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All the popular songs, I would do all the crowd pleasing music, and that kept me popular. I used to fill halls and things like nobody's business. And but what I've realized is that in this industry, you're always curious about how is it that that sound engineer can get that mix so perfect? How do they do that? I also want a desk like that. I also want sound, you know.
Sure.
And I ventured into that. There was a guy by the name of Ramsey Singh, late Ramsey Singh. He bought a lot of equipment. He was in the construction business. And he came to me and he said to me, it was always my dream to have my own PA system. At that time, Zayn and them came out with the with a sound system, but it was too expensive for me. I couldn't afford it. But then I put my mind to it, you know. And I
Yes.
said, I'm going to create events and things just for that. And everybody's talking about the 8024T system. That was long before the DNB system came out. And all the and these ranges and things. And it was a stack system. And I said, yeah, I want the system, you know. And then Ramsey said that he wanted to sell the stuff because he's away from home and there's no need for it anymore, you know.
Sure.
And then I said, okay, name your price. And he was like, No, it's just over 200K. I was like, it's a little bit too much for me. I brought
It's
him
a little
down,
bit too much.
and then I said to him, okay, give me your details. He says, yeah,
Sure.
everybody's saying that. But
Yes,
nobody can come,
yes,
but especially
yes.
the churches and our people, when it comes to our people. And I said to him, okay, he gave me his details, banking details and things, same bank, transferred the money. And he said, then the tears rolled down his face. I asked him, why are you crying? He says, you know what, you just did something that I'm not used to our people doing, you know.
Yes.
And I said to him, but that was a goal that I set for myself, you know. And that system made money for me. You can ask anybody in Kuala Lumpur. I did all the gospel shows
Vra
because I
vir
had the
my,
best
man.
sound. I had the best sound and things, you know. But then I moved on. I moved on to event organizing and things. Like the one big thing I can tell you is that the Uitenhage Street Carnival. The mayor's office came, actually the Rotary Club from Uitenhage, and they came to us and they said that the people want to change now the Uitenhage Street Carnival. They want to change the name. They want to move the date to the Inoxontonga Music Festival, and they want to move it to April. And we got used, everybody in Uitenhage got used to the street carnival. And I said, oh, look here, we don't have a lot of money, but I've got
Yeah.
a PA system.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to AJ's and I'm
Sure.
going to go get the coke truck and everything. And I called the people. We built our own little stage.
Wow.
And, you know, God's been awesome in my life. That's one thing I can tell you.
Sure.
I've got connections all over. So at that time, I got connected with Venet Ibrahim and them, Auntie Shamaine.
Sewende land.
Wow. The whole
Cast.
Seven Lanka. So I brought 7 of them down. And the Uitenhage Street Carnival was like the biggest ever, you know. And
Amazing.
I took chances like that. 2016, with the elections and things, I was approached by Christian Martin and the ANC guys and so forth to come up with something for the northern areas.
Sure.
I wrote to the office of the Premier and I said, I've got this talent search.
Sure.
Myself, Vincent Fraser, Mr. Cool, and then we put this whole thing. And you know what? It was so big that they asked us to bring the finalists to open for George Benson.
Wow.
But then politically,
Yes.
they made sure that it never happened, you know,
Yes,
and they
yes,
offered me a
yes.
golden circuit ticket. That was the only negative about it. The positive about it is I've got proof. It happened.
Sure.
And I think Chapter 3 won that competition.
Yes.
And then Wimpy was second. And
What was it? 20,000 rand? 25,000?
we paid everything out of our pockets.
Yeah.
We paid everything out of our pockets. I can say that with pride. And then they paid us afterwards, you know.
Sure.
Now you will always get the negative people say, yeah, my Godfrey is Callum, Lucian, you know, and Patrick and those.
Sure.
And I went when people say that,
Especially if you're a visionary.
Yes.
exactly,
And you take a
especially
risk.
in the vision. And if there's growth and they don't understand the favor of God upon
Sure.
their life,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, we all make mistakes. We do,
Sure.
we do. But to the extent where you can go back and say, I'm so sorry about what I've done.
Sure.
You know, and I can face the world. That's one thing I can say.
Yeah.
That's why we've got all this joy.
Yes.
And people don't understand. This is what keeps us going.
Sure.
We've got some new ideas, and I will share that with you at a later stage. And things coming up because of the vision
Yes.
that God bestowed upon us. You know,
You,
so
you dropped some valuable nuggets here. Number one, I won't be able to mention all of them, but the importance of making sacrifice or investing
Yes.
into equipment, etc. So I spoke with a young man yesterday, and he wants to buy into Cinematic Edge, our studio, and I listened to him, and he told me he did some research and he wants to invest into this one camera. I told him get equipment. Let me see how important this is to you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't go for the cheapest equipment. He goes for 150,000 rand camera.
Yeah.
Then I saw, okay, no, he's willing to invest into himself. Maybe the 90% of the listeners listening in today are thinking, like, but where should I get 150K? No, it doesn't start there.
Doesn't start
doesn't.
there.
It doesn't start there because this gentleman is already, he's finding himself in a position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But he also started using his phone. I started with my Huawei. You also mentioned that
Oh, we
you guys
started
started
with
with
the
your
Huawei.
Huawei. So Huawei, thanks to Huawei. Humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings.
And yeah, but at the end of the day, you must be willing to sacrifice.
it is.
How do you balance being a mother, being a wife, and also being a vocalist, as Mr. Pet says, or an entertainer or
So
musician.
being the good wife, I didn't want to interrupt you guys.
Ah,
So while Patrick is talking, I said to myself, it's true what the saying says, that God calls the unqualified. But He qualifies you in that
yes,
calling. So that was the one thing that I just had to throw in, because I just need to complete what Patrick just said.
sure.
You asked me
The
now
wife
how,
completes the
yes, that
husband.
completes the husband. I always do that. But also I know, as a line, you need to respect these two gentlemen speaking here,
Sure.
because that's just how I was raised. How I balance being a mother, being a vocalist, an artist, and being a I cannot say being a what. So being a mother, firstly, you have to be the teacher, you have to be the cook. You have to be the cleaner, unfortunately. You have to be the wife, the good wife. You have to be the doctor when the husband and the children get sick. You the driver. You basically everything.
Sure.
And that is why I say God calls the unqualified. Because when God placed that children in my womb, He says, "Here, Shuling, this is your part to play in their lives." So He qualified me to be the mother, the cook, the
And she's a
preacher,
good
the
one.
teacher. I'm saying the preacher because you can see where I'm
100%.
going. So having a balance, normally for me, it's just to sit still and recollect. This was your day. You failed in this area, or not failed, you did a little bit poorer in this area. How do you make up?
Yes.
So what I can say is, and Patrick, you can confirm whether I'm
Yeah.
my statement is
Truthful in
true
it.
or false. Ek gaan nie sê ek lieg nie. I would say just having the love for him, for the children, for the dogs, for my parents, that keeps me grounded. I always ask the Lord to guide me in whatever I do, whether it be cooking a plate of food. Here, wat sit ek vanaand op? Lay it on my heart. And you know what? This is to our listeners.
Sure.
I know a woman, you are crafted in a way, in a certain way. You smell what you are about to cook or prepare for your family.
Sure.
Because you know it must be filling, and there must be that secret ingredient, which is the love that we normally put in.
Sure.
You will say, because
Definitely.
once your wife gives you a plate, even if it's a plain plate of rice,
Sure.
and somebody else gives it to you, can they say, it's lekker met die
Yes.
rice man. As 'n
Yes.
bietjie te min sout of a bietjie, but you have to put your secret ingredient in. So I balance my life, and my purpose on this earth is to guide those that God has given to me, which is the kids, and to be by the one that I love, that He gave unto me. Ek balance hulle uit, ek sal skel, ek sal. But at the end of the day, it's for me to keep them happy as a mother. Being a musician, that is a bonus. I go onto the stage. My daughter loves what we do. She
Okay.
always says they can play piano, she
Yeah.
can sing, but she always tells me, "Mommy, that is for you. I want to be a physiotherapist when I grow up." So, being a mother, you must be able to listen. That's the other thing. So the balance it comes when you sit and you actually listen to the people
Sure.
that you are given unto. And ek is gegee vir hulle.
Yeah.
I'm not just placed there, I'm given
Sure.
unto them. I need to protect them, I need to love them, I need to be their everything. And in my household, I can say that even the dogs respect me. Everything that they do revolves around me. So it's easy for me to keep the balance because they make it easy.
Sure.
When it comes to earlier, you mentioned how artists sustain themselves
Yes.
when they start venturing on this business or venturing on anything. So the other day I sat with someone and I said to that person, "Hoe gaan jy klomp geld maak?" The first thing you must have the vision. If you don't have the vision, then you can't do anything. You can have the money, you can have your sponsors or the people who to buy into your idea, but then nothing will come of it. Why? Because the vision isn't there. So if you're the vision carrier, so I'm a
Sure.
vision carrier of my house.
Yes.
I want to see that once my children has completed high school, my son is in college, he's 23 years old, disabled. Doctor said he will never walk. Ask Patrick. I prayed for that child. My bro, I prayed for that child. I said, you will walk. No doctor will tell me that the child cannot walk if God didn't say so.
Sure.
Today, that child is in IT, he's doing his last year
Sure.
now. No? He applied for his own NASFAS even though we were able to pay for it. He said
Sure.
to me, Mommy, ik is disabled, ik kan dit doen.
Want to be
And
independent.
we just have this amazing family. So once you have the vision and you have your purpose, that's very important. As jy nie
Sure.
purpose het nie, then there's nothing. Then you can have the vision, but if you don't have a purpose, then that's ook niks.
Yes.
So once you have all these things, and please pray about it. Never forget to pray about
Yes.
everything. Then God will let everything fall in place. And I think that is how you can sustain your idea, sustain your vision, and sustain yourself. But it starts with you. It starts with, is ek op die regte plek? Am I at the right place? So once you're at the right place, then your vision, your purpose, and prosperity will happen.
And the balance is that.
Any balance is that.
Yes, yes.
Things balance.
Wow, that was some valuable nuggets. Yeah. Dare I ask, what are you guys working on now? That is allowed for the public to hear.
And there's a lot of things that I'm currently working on. We've got a business side of things. We've recently registered a new company.
Sure.
So we're going to run with that, with this other new venture, which I will obviously discuss very soon. I will tell people about it.
Sure.
In terms of show businesses, we've got quite a few in the pipeline that we're working on, and it is actually an idea that came about quite a few years ago.
Sure.
And I wrote a song for Shuling. I Believe in Me is the title of the song. And it's to encourage women out there to believe in themselves. And the way she sings the song, and I said, you know what, we had It's a Love Thing, our 9th edition. Next year will be our 10th year of It's a Love Thing. And it was also just a business venture where we said, what can we do annually to generate funds for us that will sustain us for a month or two while we're working on other projects and
Sure.
as money comes in. And it has always been successful. And we had 8 of the shows was like sold out, 8 years. This was the first year that we had all the tables sold out, but we didn't have all the people there because we had tables booked from abroad people.
Yes.
So to get back to your
But-
question.
Technically, it was sold out.
It was sold out.
Sure.
It was sold out. So we're working on I Believe in Me because
Okay.
a lot of people's got a lot of gigs and events coming up, and this time around we want to honor
Sure.
a few very strong females out there because the community need strong mothers.
Sure.
Strong and firm mothers, but people who believe in themselves, and my wife is a true example of that.
Yes.
She will go at anything, anytime for family and for the betterment of our conditions and so forth, and she's always very proactive when it comes to these kind of things. And whatever I throw away, she will make it work. She will make it work. I might work on the production and the proposals and those kind of things, but she is actually the one that makes it
The
work.
glue.
She's
Yes.
the one who makes it work, yeah. And she's always very passionate about whatever I bring to and put on the table.
Yes.
And she assists me, and I was amazed when I mentioned it to her. We've got a couple of weeks, and we will be performing all over the country. So we still have a lot of gigs that we're doing.
Sure.
Including the World Spheres and some other festivals. We have to go to Cape Town. We have
Not Namibia,
we have
somewhere there.
But we've got a lot of gigs, big gigs coming up,
Sure.
And then what I always do is, if I know there's going to be a money spinner for us, okay, we're going to make a good income there, then I always try and create something out of our own, so that we don't have any petrol expenses, then we make up for that and those
Sure.
kind of things, So this is what we're busy with now currently. And then, yeah, so I'm busy working on the production. It's going to be all female entertainers. I will be the only male
Come
handling
on.
everything.
Go to work.
And so forth. Because we've got a lot of female artists in the Bay that are
Yes.
brilliant.
That's not
Brilliant.
recognized.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not
We
recognized.
should actually bring some of them on.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's what we've been doing all along. If you go and watch the videos
Sure.
that AB Joseph posted about the It's a Love thing, you'll see that we've got two females there, Verlin and Valin, and we always bring new artists. They're not new; they're just not recognized.
Sure. Yeah.
But they are talented.
Okay.
So the idea is we've got a very strong women in Uitenhage, people who care for our community, people that will go out of their ways, especially for the youth, like your Jordan, the Vos could see her. Could see the Vos.
Could see the Vos.
Jordan could see the Vos. She said NMU, and they will go out of the way. They've got a foundation. I think it's a
Hope is not a verb.
hope is not a verb.
It's a doing word.
Sure. They do a lot for people, for our youth and so forth, you understand. And it is to recognize people like that, you understand. So that is what we're currently busy with, other than, working on our studio and working on some other projects.
When people get to know you, if they are like in your circle, they can see that you guys are spiritual, and I believe that is what is responsible for. Many people would know you as MMC or for what you do in terms of your political party, etc. But the utmost respect that you have for people, and one can actually, your respect and you being submissive unto your husband, it's evident. Did you guys already meet up with or experience where you are where people undermine your position, maybe, who only know from the political side of it, and giving respect, because I see that happening so much, and then women don't, and it's almost like they entertain it, but one can see clearly you are a woman of, I can, if you allow me, a Proverbs 31 woman who definitely knows the importance of family, and it doesn't go to your head what you do, etc. I'm not saying you're not doing more, but if people are not familiar with the work that you are doing as, yes, with your
No,
work.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know what? When she entered the arena of politics,
Sure.
I knew that it was going to have some negative challenges on effects on us, and the challenges will be there. I knew that. I knew it all along.
Sure.
It is just that I didn't expect it to be that harsh and to be that heavy and to be, and then she would be cool, calm, and collective, and just know exactly how to handle these things.
Sure.
And I'm like, it's all as if she's in politics for years, but she's got the heart for it, for the people and so forth. And you know what? An auntie made me cry. I had to walk out of the house once. She called and she said that she's been struggling, and the electricity, that she's 80 old, and the electricity, they don't want to switch it back on, and I don't know what. And the auntie said the water's running, and she went out of her own without me. And when she got things done, she said, "You must go to the aunt," and the auntie gave her chocolate, and the auntie said, "It's all I can give you."
Sure.
And I'm like, "What did you do?" And the auntie said she's been struggling for months and things. And then I could see her worth, She would go out there, and I'm mentioning this incident because, you know what, people would so often undermine. And now that she's not MMC anymore,
Okay.
people don't know what she's doing behind the scenes.
Sure.
And I am a living witness of that. It's like with me. In the music industry, people would often look at you as somebody who can't think.
Sure.
Somebody that's stupid. You're in the music, you can't,
Yeah.
those type
You have
of
nothing
things.
better to do.
Yeah, you understand? And then I just look at them,
Sure.
especially where we're from. But I love my town. I love my people,
Sure.
And if I didn't know any better, I would say, look here, it's not worth it, but it is most definitely worth it.
Sure.
It is what we need in this world. Whenever you enter any room, if there's music,
Yeah.
there's life.
Yes.
There is life. You know, so we live for what we do. Although sometimes seems as if we've grown stagnant, sometimes there's no new stuff, like people are looking for new stuff constantly. It is basically because we're carving, we're still working on some stuff, and I have to support her. I had to support her for a very long time.
Sure.
Being there for her to make sure that she excels
Yes.
in a field. And I think she did very, very well, you know, for the two. And I've got proof of that. I've got all the footage. I've got evidence and everything, you know. And sometimes people would say something bad because that is politics.
That
That is
is,
Yeah.
politics. There's nothing there, but they will scratch for something. And then I'm so tempted to post that, you know. Yes, but I also, when she started earning more money than what I was making, I didn't feel inferior. I didn't
Sure.
feel, I support
Because you know your worth.
Yes, and I knew that, you know, and like now when we had that turnaround,
Sure.
I said to her, you're not MMC anymore,
Yes.
but God is providing.
Maar ek is die MMC van my huis.
Yes, yes, yes. Most definitely.
Yes, yes. And now that, it's not that it was gone, it was just, it wasn't there. Because,
Sure.
you know what, we were busy with politics, we were busy with the party stuff, and whatever we put our minds to, we give it our all.
Sure.
We give it our all, you understand?
So we're living in a microwave generation. We all know that. I'm not that old, but I've seen things. And like Bradley said, die kam gaan nou makkelijker deur jou hare. Niet dat het
Kan jy
glad
het
is,
wees,
nie, maar as jy maar jy verloor hare.
Oh, it's only Bradley that can say.
So, what I want to say is, when people look at you now, women could, or young ladies could be looking for a guy that's maybe who has the car, who's got everything together, who's maybe making things happen, etc. Like, for instance, in terms of Mr. Pat and what he does and his connections and his network, you know. Because I look at, my wife would always tell me, moenie vergeet jy het in jou ma se sitkamer geslaap toe ons ontmoet.
Yes, yes.
Or jy het eens 'n kuiwe gehad toe ons begin het. Not in a bad way,
Yeah,
but
she's just keeping
we
you
joking.
grounded.
Yes.
She's just keeping on top.
Yes. But I am like the jackhammer.
Yes.
But she keeps everything together. If she's not here, this show wouldn't even be there. I don't think that I would, like the basic things. She just makes things happen. And if she wasn't there, then I don't know where I would have been. I would have most probably still been living.
You're taking me back. We were sitting on speakers.
Yes, we did.
Remember, I was married before. And
Okay.
I gave up everything. You know, we started from scratch.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's me. I didn't want, you know, because there's no, in fact, we live together.
Sure.
You understand? So,
Do you want to
we
explain
start-
that living together part?
no, I'll leave that up to you. When people came to me, it was like, hey, Tururu bly hierso. And then they would come in and
Yeah.
we'd like be sitting on speakers and very chilled, because we had all the love in the world.
Yeah.
Sure.
We had enough food to eat, we had everything, but we were sitting on speakers.
Wow.
Yes.
That's how we started out.
That's how we started out, you know.
It was only the two of us,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
we don't need couches. Ons need net die bed.
That's all.
And then I would surprise her. I would like come home and you say, now I can tell you some hair-raising stories about how I made money and how God was on our side.
Yeah.
And people would never understand.
Sure.
That's why I can't blame them for portraying me as a scallum or something. It's because you don't understand the favor of God.
Sure.
I would come home with a microwave. I would come home with money.
Oh.
Then she would ask,
Are you selling drugs?
is die man op drugs? I would get a phone call. Like,
Yes.
for instance, when President Zuma, I had many opportunities which I exploited. When President Zuma came to visit PE, a sound company got the job, but they had some challenges, technical challenges, and somehow they believed in me. There are
Sure.
bigger companies out there, but they called me. And I went in there, and the cops, everybody knows me, so the cops came and said, Pat, do we need to escort you in? And also Mr. Pat, Mr. Pat, don't come, Mr. Pat. And they took me in, and I made some magic there, and the guy said to me, Bro, I don't know how to thank you.
Sure.
Because it was 9 o'clock already, 14,000 people were at the Denkerke Stadium. They were in there. And it
Wow.
was packed. And I solved it. And on top of it, I made the first announcement and I stabilized the stage and everything. And the guy said to me, Bro, yeah, and I went home. And she's like, where did you get all this money?
Yeah.
I was shocked.
She
Yeah.
was shocked.
He was paid on the job, but he didn't disclose to me.
Sure.
So I was just like, hoekom die man huis toe met
Yeah.
you know, the new 100 rand just came out.
Mm.
And then Patrick comes home with a stack of money and he's like, just put this in the safe. I'm like, but I think no, he didn't come from. But he explained it.
Yes, yes, yes,
Those
yes.
kind of opportunities. You know, I wrote a lot of proposals. Like I came up with stuff like when the people started looting all the shopping malls they
Yeah.
started in Durban. So I
Yeah.
woke up at 2 o'clock in the night and I wrote not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
And I phoned Timothy Hendricks. I said, in the middle of the night, I wrote this thing not on our watch. It shouldn't happen. Let's mobilize the neighborhood watches. Let's mobilize.
Yeah.
This. And he made it happen because Timothy's got a huge network. Pastor Hendricks. So there's a lot of things that I can tell you, you know, that came
Hidden
out of the pen.
talents.
Yes.
And so I write a lot. And I wrote these proposals and it made money for me. Not that time when it
Yes.
happened. But in the long run, people started noticing and said, okay, let's get Lindoor in. Let's get him to do something for us, you know. So, and that helped us a lot.
Sure.
And it's still helping us, you know. So now currently when we, and it's like your wife. Whenever I've got something and I bounce it over, she would like, okay, right, it sounds good, but what if we do this? What if we do? And she would come up with brilliant ideas and things, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As,
Excellent.
as men, we can be a bit rough around the edges.
Yes.
And being a supportive wife, what advice can you give to young ladies out there?
Question of the day, hot seat. Suddenly this chair became big. Okay, so advice to young women out there. Yes, you guys can be rough around the edges at times. But what I believe is that if you support the person that you love, no matter if that person has a crazy, stupid idea, and I'm talking like this now because I'm speaking to young women.
Sure.
Whether the idea sounds crazy or stupid at times, just be the supportive person, just be the support structure. It's like I wanted to say earlier. I'm always like that. When you speak, I listen. And then when I have something to say, I will say it when the time is right. So the time is right now. But behind every successful man, you have that strong woman.
Definitely.
But that strong woman needs to be on her knees all the time. You need to pray for that husband. It's like you said earlier. Your wife will remind you, you came out of your mother's forays.
Yes.
And we came from a house without chairs. We sat on the
Sure.
speakers when we had our chow mein. I didn't even have a stove. We used to eat takeaways. But as long as you stick with that person, you pray for that person, you support that person, and that is what I can say it. That is what the man needs. That is what your male partner needs. You must just be there, support him, no matter what. Support your husband. That's the most important thing in a relationship. Trust. When you trust a person, you will support that person. But where there's no trust, there's nothing.
Sure.
That is also a very true fact. So I've been watching Daw Man, and they always say, where there's no trust, there's nothing. And I can confirm that. I can trust Patrick with my life. We can go to Cape Town and he's driving.
Sure.
I will sleep the entire way, my bro. I won't even wake up for ice cream because I trust him with my life.
Sure.
That is how important it is to trust your partner. So once you trust your partner, once you support your partner, once you love that person, further than that, there's nothing more to say
Sure.
when it comes to supporting a partner.
I like the trust factor because our youth today, they don't trust one another. I had a post last night and the lady said, I cheated on my boyfriend, and my boyfriend went and cheated on me with my friend, and now I have trust issues. It's so important to be able to build anything, a family, a business, anything,
Yes.
if there is trust.
The foundation.
I always tell like the guys, you know what? If I need to, if something's happening, let's say there's a deal that comes up and I need to be in Cape Town this afternoon or tomorrow, I can just call my wife, please iron this shirt and that pants, pack it, see for me for a flight to Cape Town. I must be there tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. So whether I fly up early tomorrow morning or this afternoon, please book it, and then I'll explain to you when I get home. She will do that.
Yes.
She won't still ask questions or wonder, isn't there a girlfriend or something gonna happen? Nothing comes to the mind in terms of trust because she knows me as a person.
She
And we
trusts
don't
you.
see that.
She trusts your vision, and she trusts what you guys have, and that is what I value in a woman. That's like I said.
Sure.
I want to give some classes somewhere down the line. It's not what you do for that person, but it's how you make that person feel that builds trust.
Sure.
If I make you feel good, you will be able to trust me.
Sure.
And it's like a chain reaction. Each emotion, each value. Ons het gepraat van vrugte van die gees.
Yeah.
Each value added to that word
Yes.
is built on the previous one.
Sure.
So as then, if there's no love, there can't be trust.
100%.
If there's no trust, there can't be love.
Sure.
If there's no trust, there can't be support, because I won't support somebody that I don't trust.
Sure.
So it's a chain reaction, and that is how life
It
is.
builds.
It builds.
into something beautiful.
And at the end of the day, it ends in success. A
Yes.
successful marriage, successful life, successful children,
Wow.
successful business. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Because you've built on the foundation, where the foundation should be trust. God, then trust.
I've heard so many of my friends changing their mind. Let's say they work with me for, let's say, for 3 months or longer. Then they start to realize, hey, I shouldn't be scared of marriage. Marriage is actually beautiful. So
It
then
is,
they
it
don't
is.
see they don't look at it as in fear anymore, because
Yeah.
they can see what it actually brings and why the
Yes.
blessing of God is on there. So we obviously have a platform where our community congregate. So obviously we've shared so many nuggets, and people want more, and they can obviously be part of the community, and I'm sure that you will also be part of it and share and help where people, so just basically a platform where you are off Facebook, off YouTube, just in our own community where you can learn and get access to mentors like yourself. And I'm looking forward to actually hearing testimonials from our youth years from now or months from now, and say, you know what, that is what switched me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are doing an amazing job. I've been watching yourself, Alfred, Adrian.
Yes,
and
yes,
I'm
yes.
a big fan. You know.
Oh yes,
Silently,
I love
I'm very
Alfred
big
as well.
fans.
Yeah, and Natalie, and your podcasts. You know, you guys are such an inspiration, and to think it's our own people.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm so proud, and I always believe in supporting. Like Alfred Eden said the other day, he's so proud of Tsippy, you know,
Yes.
being in a curtain raiser for Phil Ferron and so forth, you know. And I'm like, wow, I love this.
Sure.
Acknowledging your own, giving credit where it's due,
Yes.
you know. And
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing that you guys have and that you've started, you know. And I love it, man. You
I'm
know,
a-
just to
I'm really, really humbled for you to mention my name with Alpha's name in one sentence. The reason why I'm saying is we met I met his wife a few times, like in Bay West with a child, etc. And then I met him also in Bay West, and I introduced myself and I said, you know what, I've got a whole lot of equipment. If you need any, I'm in PE, or if you know people who need, you can always reach out to me. said, stuur my net 'n boodskap op Instagram. And then when I sent him a message the other day, last week, I think, on Instagram, I said, once again, I always introduce myself because I don't just assume people know who I
Yes.
am because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's 60 million people in South Africa, if not 70. So I always introduce myself. So I said, I'm that guy, etc. If you need to interview someone in Port Elizabeth and you need a place to do it,
Set up,
I have a studio.
beautiful,
You can come in anytime because at the end of the day, there is no competition in this world because there's no one whose name is Alfred Adrian who is from Hankie, who lives now in Cape Town, who met Natalie from Atlantis, you know?
Yes.
So, like, for instance, everyone is unique. And at the end of the day, if we see it that way and we are not divided, then we can create something just
Beautiful,
so
absolutely.
so beautiful. And with his experience, wow, I don't miss his show. I even go to his show twice.
He's great. He's great.
It's amazing.
He's amazing.
Any last tips that you can actually share that you wish someone told you when to the younger version of yourselves before we will go into some vocals.
Can I go first? So the song that Patrick wrote, and it's very profound. If somebody had told me, the younger version of me, that you are beautiful, strong, you're phenomenal, you're amazing, you're worthy, you're kind, you're unique. If I had that when I was younger, I would have been a better version earlier, but I'm the greatest version now that I know it.
100%.
So the song that Patrick wrote, it simply says, when you wake up in the morning, and that this is to the woman. Remember, we're moving to July,
Sure.
and then August is Women's Month. So when you wake up in the morning, he said, I wake up Shuling every day. Put a smile on you. The song says, when you wake up in the morning, put a smile on your face. Put on your coat of love, faith, and strength. Then you look in the mirror and then you say, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm dynamic, I'm unique, I'm worthy, and I'm kind. I am me. That is what drives me now, the greatest version of me. That is what drives me. And knowing that the person who I love dearly, deeply, and above all, except now for God, ek is baie meer lief
Yes,
vir die Here
yes.
as wat ek vir jou is. But God gave me you.
Yes.
So that would be my last words if
Sure.
I had the platform. And this is a platform created by Lucian Godfrey now. That is my encouragement to the woman out there.
Before you go, Mr. Pet, my wife and I, we break up. We were still boyfriend and girlfriend. That's like, I think 15 years ago. For like 3 months or 2 months. But that was the worst 2 months of my life, I believe. But when we got together, I told her, you know what? You put God first, I put God first. Because that is what I realized. I could actually go crazy. We as men don't normally show. We think that we can go without. Yeah, we break when there's a breakup. So I told her, you know what I've realized in this time, you put God first, I put God first. And as long as we do that, there will never come anything
Nothing.
between us.
Nothing.
You're so right. You're so right.
Nothing can separate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are such an inspiration. You know what? I met William Wilderman a couple of years ago.
Yes,
When the
it's London.
When the headlines said self-made millionaire
Sure.
from PE, and I was like very proud, a colored boy,
Sure.
a millionaire and things. It wasn't about the money; it was about how he conducted his business and the belief in himself. You know, and
Sure.
I met
Yes.
him, and they entered the gospel scene. Now they've been his brother and them sang for PE, choir, community choir, and so forth and so forth, Godfrey and them and so. But when he started out venturing into this gospel scene with music, with harmony house and so forth, I drew from that. I learned from that. And I said, I'm never too old to learn. But if I knew this many moons ago, then there would have been a better version of myself out there, like what I've just said now. But you know what? We didn't realize the value of the hours we put in, the money that we made, and how to invest, how to double that, how to triple that, and how to build a business for our future. It's never too late. It's
Yes.
never too late to start. I've failed many times. I've failed dismally. At times I wanted to give up, But fortunately, God gave me a gift. And I always had this baby on my side. And I would go to my guitar and I would compose. I've written a lot of songs. There's a lot of songs out there. I recently wrote one. And then I wrote a song a couple of years ago, Help. I will obviously relaunch it or play the do better version of it,
Song is deep.
If you can hear us, help. There's somebody out there, help. Because the country's going downward so fast. There's people dying all over, children dying. I've written that songs many years ago. That song.
Wow.
In 2000, before, was it 2000, 2001, with the Eiffel Towers. I think
Yes.
it was 2000, 2001.
2001.
2000, yeah. In August, on my birthday, I wrote a song. And that thing happened on the 9th of September.
Yes,
And I couldn't
9/11.
launch, but I was in Germany at the time when I wrote that song. And so if I knew that time what I know now, so I would tell the young artists out there, to explore
Yes.
and to never be afraid. Take chances. People might tell you can't sing because I was told I can't sing.
Sure,
I never denied it. I'm not a vocalist, but I'm an entertainer.
sure.
So whichever song they throw at me, I would do that song. Maybe not the way you like it, but I would do it. I would execute it, the way I best can.
Like
And
I will tell a song.
yeah,
But at this point of time, I'll give you
Yes,
the liberty of choosing your own.
yeah. So for a little bit of advice,
Sure.
for us it was always 80% music and 20% business. It should be the other way around.
I wanted you to repeat that. I want you to repeat that because I promise you, most people will miss this, and this is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we have so much poverty.
Yeah, it is. It is. People always ask me, you know what? A friend of mine, a bassist, Leon Jafta, once said to me, your consistency. That is what amazes us, And I was like, consistency. I'm always relevant. I'm always there. I'm always on the scene. You can have the youngest artist coming up and be on the big shows, and I will be one of the headliners. The one thing that made me very, very angry was that I was always the curtain raiser for some big artist
Yes.
until Vincent Fraser. Until Vincent Fraser. And that was in 2004 when we recorded that song. 2006, I was so popular that they had to fly me all over. 2007 with the World Cup, they had to fly me from Kimberley to Cape Town, from Cape Town to PE to come and do the thing at Green Acres when the Springboks came. And
Yes,
I
yes,
had to
I
entertain-
remember that day.
I had to entertain them. They
Green
had
Acres
other
was
guys,
too.
other entertainers there. You know what? I don't know how I made it. But the other entertainers rather said, no, you just carry on. You've got the crowd. And
Yeah.
it was, man, in front was just white people. Our people were in the trees and all over,
Sure.
Any boom.
Yeah, and at the back of the
So,
parking lot
yes.
and things. And then I said, you know what? This is what God meant. It is biblical. Your gift
Yeah.
will make room for you.
Yeah.
But if I knew at the time how to maximize that moment, to me it was 80% music and being myself on that stage. Not worried about the business side.
Sure.
Because now I could get off that stage and buy everybody pizza, buy everybody cool drinks. I
Sure.
never drank in my life.
Sure.
But I would buy the guys a drink if they wanted to drink. That was
Sure.
me. Only now I realize that it should be 80% business and 20% music. You're doing music with your heart, which means it is there all the time.
Sure.
So you don't have to concentrate on that much. Concentrate
Sure.
on that which will
On the
sustain you
business.
and that will build you so
Yes.
that you can leave behind a legacy.
I love that you actually mentioned that. I was telling who was it? I think it was Elton Zakai that I told. I said, I'm just starting off with the podcast now, so I'm still just guiding people, etc. But I'm here to change things. I'm not here to
Yes.
for something to just watch and have fun, because yeah, as the new audience get to know me, then I will be able to, you know what, share what has helped myself and many of my friends and clients, etc., to be able to go from where they found themselves to achieving above average things. Because we look, like you mentioned about William, for instance. So we look at the millionaire, we're like, wow, I just want to live comfortably. I don't want that. But you can't even buy a house outside of, in fact, in an area like this with 1 million. No, you can't. You can
Yeah.
absolutely not,
Yeah.
you know? So it's not that now we say, no, I'm humble and I trust in God. So it's almost like, if you have, and then that means that you don't trust in God, you know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
attitude of lack,
Yeah.
etc. So I'm obviously going, I'm just warming them up until, you know, like for instance, I can do this show once per week.
Yeah.
However, today we have three recordings. So it's Jonathan Urbain, it's you guys, it is Bradley Mai who came in earlier. So now, you mentioned in terms of consistency. So there needs to be consistency. So now I can create the content for the next year, for instance. And then when people see me, let's say on vacation, in the Maldives, etc., but they will know that every week a show will still come live. That they fly back to there,
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
They will
Yes.
wonder. But at
Yes,
the end of
yes.
the day, in terms of consistency, you don't wait. Okay, next week, who can I call up? No, because you guys know so many people already that are doing amazing things. So I will call you guys up and I'll say, guys, I need 5 people from you.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan, I'll tell him, I need 5 people from you. I told Bradley, I told Elton. So you don't wait until the opportunity comes. You create the
Yes.
platform,
You
and
maximize on the
yes, you
moment.
maximize on it. You
Yes.
know, and so that is where we are moving with this podcast. So gradually it will pick up,
Yes, yes.
and then people will. Afterwards, they will start thinking as an entrepreneur if they are not
Yes.
thinking as an entrepreneur as yet. Because one of my mentors speaks and he says that when he speaks to people and they ask, is this a get rich scheme? Then he asks, what is a scheme? A scheme is a plan. So yes, definitely it's a get rich scam.
Yes. A scheme.
Sorry, a scheme is a plan.
Yes.
So it is definitely a get rich plan,
Plan.
because you're not gonna be here on this earth forever. So you better be wanting to actually,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Can I just come in there, man? You know, when you first approached me, I was very skeptical about it. I didn't want to go into any of this, right?
Sure.
This money making stuff and all of that. Because I worked very hard for my money.
Yes.
And I made one big mistake. I invested wrongly. I invested in some foreign thing that they said you can make X amount, and she
Sure.
recently found out. And you know what I like about you guys, especially as young as you are, you and Elton and them, you can actually see the growth. You can see the
Yes.
growth. It's evident.
Definitely.
And the way you guys carry yourselves, it should actually serve as a navigation for the youth out there.
Sure.
You know.
Wow.
To me, it is important that we have more of these kind of things. That's why I said I'm a huge fan of Alfred
Yes.
and yourself, and even Elton Zakay. Elton, the way he carries himself, he makes a lot of mistakes. All of us.
All
do.
of us.
All
Ooh.
of us do. But he's consistent in what's doing. He's preaching one language, one thing.
Sure.
Yes.
Business, prosperity, business.
Sure.
But he does it with so much conviction and so much love for it. When he speaks, he's very passionate about it, you know. It's like you when I listen to you presenting to the people of how to make money and those kind of
Sure.
things, the way you speak, you come from a place of experience, a place
Sure.
of, and you trust in this thing.
Sure.
But like my wife said, the trust should be there in whatever you sell to the people and whatever you portray to be out there, you know. So yes, we need more of this, and the world would be a much better place.
So what I do is I separate the two. You know, on this show I don't speak about what I do in terms of what I do for money or investments. reason being, people have been hurt out there. They made mistakes, and that's
Yes.
why I just wrote my book. They can download my book for free. They can get it into in the description and just learn about it, and then make more informed decisions. You don't
Yes,
have to partner
yes.
with us. So on
Yes.
this show, it's basically one of my friends says, now you've made so much that you can just do passion projects now. You don't even you don't even get paid for
Yeah.
doing the podcast and all of those kind of things. But at the end of the day, this is also what
It's
I'm
growing the
passionate
brand.
about, and eventually it obviously it grows the brand. But the main focus is to help the person who lives in location, who lives in the northern areas, who lives in, like continuously say, El Dorado Park or Mitchell's Plain, and show them there are mentors that you can actually look
Yes.
up to.
Yeah.
Because me growing up, I only saw the gachi with a
With the
stack of
money.
money, the taxi driver, or the guys who has an illegal business. And unfortunately, I also went down that line 20 years
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
And I was there were two assassination attempts on my life. Stuff that I don't normally speak about. I don't know why I'm speaking about it now,
Because you're
but
speaking to your mother. Yeah.
but
Yes.
this is a platform where I want to actually bring people up like yourself, so people can see, no, here are people that actually make it big by doing
What they love.
by doing something legal, and then also doing something that they love.
Whenever I picked up the guitar, she would like refer to when she was a child and the quirky she used to sing and those kind of things, and I would, you know what, whatever she sings always moves me, you know.
Sure.
But I've got a song that I normally play when I pick up the guitar.
A sound check. A
When I
sound
do a
check
sound
song.
check and things, yeah, yeah. I used to get gigs like that. You know that they used to ask me. They thought that I could read and write music. I can't. Let me be honest with you. A lot of people think that I do. Even I used to work for Classic Productions, do some work for them. Michelle Brandenberger, I think she's in Australia and New Zealand, Australia, yes. And she was based in East London. And I would do cabaret shows and things, and they would say, "Could you just write me the staff audition for that?" And I'm like, "Okay, wow, I don't know how." And I would like, because people are like, we were in Durban once, and they had the gigs on the Boatsman back in the day. I'm talking now about the early 90s, and
Sure.
I was like, well, I can't and read or write. And the guys got the music, the notes and everything, and they put and the wind came and blew everything away, and the guys were like standing, and they said, we need some stuff, we need some jazzy stuff and things. And I picked up the guitar and I was like, there I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Or do like, look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. Those kind of songs, jazz standards, Fly Me to the Moon, and those kind of things. And that would secure my gig. Because I used to fiddle around with all these kind of jazz standards or songs that people used to like. But the song that I always, when we do a sound check, do is a song that goes like this. Wow!
Amazing. Guys, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do take a second and subscribe. Otherwise, you won't get notifications and you won't ever see our videos again. So please do take a second and subscribe. Let's get into it.